Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to get started with vibe coding setup using Google Gemini. We're going to use Google Gemini Pro 2.5. When you sign up for the plan, the Gemini Pro plan for students, it gives you access to this better model to the end of academic year in 26, so for approximately a year. And so that's really great, and there shouldn't be any payment related to that. I'll link this document in the description of the video below, but when you click on here, it takes you over to this site right here where you can sign up for the Google Pro 2.5 till next year. You have to the end of June to do it, and they shouldn't charge you anything. And then at the end of the year, they'll probably remind you and ask you if you want to officially upgrade. But you should be able to get it just with your school email. So when you sign up, you should sign up probably with your home Gmail account or your private Gmail account, because students at FIT don't have access to Google Gemini through their regular account. So all you're using your student email address for is just verifying that you qualify as a student to get the Pro. But you'll actually get the Pro assigned to your private Gmail account. Okay, so if we go to the Google Gemini website, here's the link for that. It's just the chat website for Gemini. So once you're on the site, it looks like this, and I went ahead and have the Pro signed up for my home email address as well too. And so when you're signed up for Pro, it has the word Pro over here, and you see this little rainbow bar around your icon. So this is the regular Gemini website, and we're going to use it to do some coding. The way you can do that is when you're prompting the LLM to write you an app, you use this thing called the canvas. This is a little window that pops up and puts your source code inside of it, and you can work together with the LLM to edit your source code. This is a pretty nice implementation of it. There's others at other websites. Anthropic and Claude has a version of it. They call their setup artifacts. So sometimes you'll hear this little feature called an artifact, editing the source code over here on the side. I can't remember what OpenAI calls their version of this. They may also call it a canvas as well too. At any rate, there's a few others. I'm going to keep it signed on to, let's turn on 2.5 Pro down here. And so once you turn this on, you can see that there's a few things that you can kind of add. These are called tools. And so you can make a video with this newest image generation model. It's called VO3. It's actually really fabulous. So, and I think you have access to that in the Pro plan. So you can try that out on your own. But in here, there's a little plus sign that will let you upload file from your hard drive, add a file from your G drive, Google Drive, or you can import some code. Now, what import code means is you import what's called a GitHub repo or a GitHub repository. And what that is a place online where the source code for various projects is posted. So we have the source code for the business management project on a GitHub repo. And so what we'll use this for later is to import that repo so that the LLM understands what's going on in our project and in our situation. So for now, you can also do deep research, which is a feature where it goes out and looks for things related to your topic, documentation, and then it goes to the documentation and summarizes it and gives you back a report. But we're going to use this canvas. So when you click that on like that, what it does is if you ask it to edit a file now with you, it'll put up a little window over here in order to do that. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to say, can we create tic tac tic-tac-toe game using HTML and JavaScript and CSS. You probably don't have to say that because in the Canvas window it's just going to put up one file, and if you ask it for a web app or HTML, it's by default just going to put everything into one file. So there's not a multiple file setup here for editing this Canvas window in Gemini, in the Gemini website here. So for that, you have to move to a more complicated environment, like Visual Studio Code, or we'll look at an environment later on called Firebase Studio, which is a Google version of a online IDE. So, but for right now, we'll just ask it for to create a tic-tac-toe game using HTML. Let's also say, like, can we create a web app, a tic-tac-toe web app game using HTML? And I'm going to say vanilla JavaScript. And the reason for that is because I want to be able to look at the code and understand it, if possible, although that's not necessarily required when you're doing this kind of coding. But if you don't put this in, sometimes it'll choose a framework that's really complicated to read the code and understand it. And sometimes that's not the greatest if you're trying to refine your app. So then you say submit, and it knows that you want to edit a file together with it. So it kind of should go ahead and pop it into a window over here on the right. So it does that. And the first thing what it does is it shows you what code it's putting in. And while it's doing that, it's on the code part of this preview over here. And when it's finally done, it says switch over and show the preview for it. Okay, so this is the CSS up at the top. These are the style sheets up at the top. And it's kind of describing what it's doing, and that's fine. Okay, so this looks great. Here's my game. It's probably going to work pretty well. The LLMs are very good at coding nowadays. So, okay, yeah, reset game. Everything looks fine. Now, if I wanted to add features to this, like kept score of number of games won, I could treat those as, sort of features, and I would ask it for to add more things here. Can you keep score of how many games X's and O's win, and show that below the reset game button. Also make the reset game button huger. Just say huger. Let's see. Okay, and go. Okay, so it tells me what it's doing, so it's nice. And I guess it's finally done. Is it done? No. Usually when it's done, it switches over to the preview part. So you could go and look and see what it's doing to the code. My feeling is it's probably still pasting it in down here at the bottom. Yeah, you can kind of trail it down there. And so then when it's finally done, it should switch over to preview. Okay, did it not switch? Okay, I'm going to switch it over. Okay, so there it is, and let's test it out. Oops. Okay, X wins 1, just to make sure. All right. Okay, so good. So you can see it looks great. Okay, now say I'm happy with this. Oh, by the way, if you want to come over here and look at the code, you can. If you actually want to go in here and make some changes on your own, it is possible to do that. And those should show up over there on the preview. So if I say hello there and then go and look at that, yeah, it's going to put in my change up there. These two buttons up here take you back to the previous version and to the one that you're on. So this is kind of your version, your different versions up here. This means that the changes are saved over here, there's a refresh button in case you made some changes and it's not running yet. This is the console window. If you open this, what you're going to see is some printouts. If something goes wrong or something doesn't work, this is the first place you can look to see those error messages. And then finally over here, there's a share button. So I don't know what this stuff is down here, but the share button will take it out and give you a link to something you can share with somebody else. So just so you see what this looks like, if you copy this link here and then get rid of that, and we go over to another window up here and paste it in, this is what it looks like when it's shared. So the user gets the link, they click on the link and they go here and they see this stuff down here. They can actually see the code. So if you're coding on something and you don't know what's wrong with it and you want to show somebody else, you can publish it or you can share it and they will be able to see the code. I think if they click on this one, they get their own copy to work on further. And so they can kind of edit your version further. I think if you do make changes to it back here on this initial page, you would have to reshare it for the user to get the latest version, really. So that's the share button over here. If you come up here to this files in this chat, if you open that, it shows you which files you've edited, so which artifacts are here, which canvas windows are here. It could be more than one canvas window per conversation, it turns out. And also, we didn't really add any files for the LLM to use, like the GitHub repo or any other files, so there's no other files here. But if you had uploaded some files for the LLM to use, then it would appear here. So one thing you can do back over here when you have this preview is you can actually take a screenshot and upload that to whoops, no, I don't want to do that. So let me see if I can take a screenshot just so you see how that works. So you go here and you say screenshot. Okay, and so here I'm going to say okay, and I'm going to say here. And okay, so I'm going to copy that to the clipboard, and then if I come over here, I'm going to paste it in over here. I should be able to paste it in over here. Okay, there it is. And then I'm going to say, can you make the button much more rounded? Okay, and it should be able to see that image up there. And so this is nice. You can have it look at your user interface as you're kind of making changes. And it can understand if something is visually wrong with your app, what you're trying to tell it. So, okay, so it's going to try to make this thing rounder. Let's see what it does. We could click over here and see it kind of working on the source code. I think it might be done. Let's see. Oh, yes, so it is rounder. Okay, so if you want to just share just the app and the code for the app, you can do that. But you can also share the whole chat. So this whole chat over here you can share as well. And those are two different links. So to share the chat, you would come over here to where the chats are, and you go to this little button right here and you do share. And right now it's not public, the chat window page, but if you say create public link, it gives you a URL that you can copy, and then if you come up here or send this to somebody else, they can actually see your entire chat window. So here it tells you when the chat was created, and in this case it doesn't really show you the canvas window, but this was what was in your canvas window here. And I think if you send this to somebody else, they can see both what was in the canvas window as well as all of the discussion that you had about it as well too. So that's a way to share the entire conversation. Okay, so I think that's most of the elementary features for this one. Of course, if you come up here, you could choose a different model. 2.5 Flash is a pretty good model as well, too. It's faster than the 2.5 Pro, but if you're doing a particularly difficult app and it's having trouble understanding it, choose the 2.5 Pro. I think once you start with one model on a canvas window, it won't let you switch midway through editing it. If you're going to make the switch to a different model, you're going to have to copy and paste the HTML out of the current canvas and into the new one when you start to edit with the new model. So I don't know what the personalization stuff is exactly, but that's sort of the setup. Now, next time we'll come back and see how to set up this environment to edit the business database data.